ॐ वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्म एधि वेदस्य मआणीस्थ श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ May my speech be firmly established in my mind. May the mind too be firmly established in my speech. O self-effulgent Lord, be revealed in my consciousness. May the truths of the scriptures shine forth in my life. May whatever I learn from them never ever forsake me. Let me live my life day and night according to their teachings. I shall speak what is appropriate. I shall speak the truth. May that protect me. May that protect the teacher. Om, peace, peace, peace. Let us feel our true divine nature in our heart as a steadily burning candle flame. I am feeling the light from that candle spreading throughout my personality. I am light. Light of the self. I am divine. I am seeing the same light has filled this whole universe. It is all one without second. Existence itself, beyond time, beyond space. Established in the unflinching stillness. It is light itself. Bliss itself. I am that. I am the love. I am the peace. I am the eternal non-duality. Om. Peace. 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 So, dear friends, let us begin today's discussion on this very special biography of Sri Ramakrishna with our usual chant. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashvapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadattatam Bhuvi grinanti te Bhurida jana. This opening chant tells us the purpose of studying this biography, listening to which it is mentioned here that our life which is tormented by several different problems which come to us because of the identification with body and mind. Those torments, when we listen to this life, how this life of wisdom, this life that is led with the consciousness of the truth, we see that thus studying that life, looking at that life, and looking that we can also become like that, makes us free from these torments. So, this is why this life is being studied. So, we have been seeing this Sri Ramakrishna's Guru Bhava, his life led in the form of a teacher of mankind, Guru. In fact, that is the prime purpose of the incarnation of God, to assume human form, as Jesus mentions, to show the goal and show the way by one's example. As he says, I am the goal, I am the way. So, the way is an important thing by which the goal is attained. If we want to reach the goal, it is not something just imaginary, but there is the way, and we have to traverse that way. Without traversing that way, we won't get the goal. So, the life of an incarnation is the goal as well as the way. So, Sri Ramakrishna therefore lived like us. It is like an ordinary looking human being without any grandeur external. I mean, there was no high education that he acquired by going to universities, nothing like. In fact, he used to think of himself as illiterate. And has been described by Swami Vivekananda also like that, that he was illiterate. But those words are not to be taken literally. It is, his illiteracy was not to be seen as something literally true. He had very good that writing, reading skills, some very good arithmetic skills also. So the 3 R's of pedagogy, he was quite good at that, reading, writing and arithmetic. So, but still he used to think of himself that I didn't go to school, because he saw how the university education, high degrees, or whatever, becoming a big scholar, that may bring some money, but not God realization. That may bring respect in society. People can adore you, that wow, what a great scholar this person is. You can get a high paying job, and so forth. But you may not get God realization through that knowledge. And therefore he told his elder brother, who wanted to put him into this priestly learning, that was the family of priests. So to put this young boy and make him an earning member of the family, he insisted, well, go to this school where they teach all these things. And he did not first pay attention at the end, then later told his brother that I do not want that education that just gives you some subsistence for carrying on this life. It is I don't want that education. I want the education by which the human life becomes uh, no, successful in the sense of having realized God. So that is the education I want. And this is the education that he was imparting also by his life. That and he was imparting it automatically, not that consciously as such. That okay, I will teach these people. Like when somebody has a teaching job at school, now they think that I am now going to teach. It is that is quite right for them. But Sri Ramakrishna was completely devoid of ego. And so it was not with the idea that okay, now I will teach all these people around me. That was not at all the attitude. But the life itself was scattering the lessons. This is to be remembered, that it is. I remember that Saint Francis of Assisi's, that beautiful saying, that it is good to walk to give a sermon. If your walking itself is a sermon, means what you act in life, the way you lead your life, that is a sermon. Then it makes sense to go and give a sermon. So Sri Ramakrishna's that life was a sermon, and that was being given in a unique way. The teaching was not that okay, that I can teach only these people and not these. No such thing. That he just lived a very simple life of God love, loving the God, and thus people learned from him, and that was how he was Guru. So, therefore, his life as Guru influenced and benefited everyone. An important thing that we are reading right now is it benefited his gurus as well. Many gurus came to Sri Ramakrishna. They were all divinely inspired to go and teach him. And Sri Ramakrishna followed their instructions with great respect and surrender. And yet, what happened? Sri Ramakrishna certainly learned from them many things. But in turn, they also learned from Sri Ramakrishna. They were great teachers because that is how they became the teacher of a person like Sri Ramakrishna. So, it is, and yet they also found that they had some lacuna, something that needs to be done to get to perfection. And they got it from the company of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna himself was a great student. He used to say that I will learn as long as I live. It is in Bangla words that Jotodin Bachi Totodin Shikhi, that because the life is for learning. It is the moment we stop learning, we are not living also. It is thus we see Sri Ramakrishna was learning from them, and many things that he learned from Bhairavi Brahmani, and now what we are reading Totapuri. These two have been taken as the examples, that the glaring, big, very bright examples of the teachers of Sri Ramakrishna. And it is described how they came to Dakshineshwar, how they imparted their teachings to Sri Ramakrishna, by a kind of divine ordination. So, we are reading the account of Totapuri. Earlier, we finished reading the account of Bhairavi Brahmani, that how, although a great soul, still there are some problems, some defects that remain in one's life. It is an inexplicable thing that how, even reaching at that height of spiritual attainment, some human infirmities can remain in a person. It is can be explained or is explained in many ways, but still it is a kind of a dilemma that how such people of tremendous spiritual attainment, so big that they could become teachers of Sri Ramakrishna, such persons also had such problems, such infirmities. So it is they reached a goal, but then at that level, the life, human life, is not sustainable, and so they came down a little bit, and thus were leading life at that level, and then some human tendencies, some imperfections, they remain there so that they can lead life like us. So, there are many ways of looking at it, but the point is that with the association of Sri Ramakrishna, those also were remedied, and thus they attain to the fullness of spiritual wisdom. So, here we see about the place that Totapuri, a great monk, established in the non-dual wisdom and came to Sri Ramakrishna. He was a person with what is called Nirvikalpa Samadhi, a state of highest concentration without even a ripple of thought vibration. He was established in that rippleless oneness. So, that Totapuri, he came, he was wandering all around, never would stay at a place for more than 3 days, and Sri Ramakrishna is describing many things about him. And we are reading on page 534. The master did not tell us anything about the area in the northwest where Tota had been born. Perhaps the master had not felt it necessary to ask Tota about this. Monks generally do not answer if asked about their pre-monastic name, birthplace, family, and so on. The scriptures say that it is forbidden to ask such questions of monks as well as for monks to answer them. This may be the reason why the master did not ask these questions of Tota. After the master passed away, some of the monastic disciples travelled through the northwest part of India. They inquired of some old monks and came to know that Totapuri had been born somewhere in Punjab. His guru's ashrama was at Ludhiana near Kurukshetra. Now there was lot of research done on this, and there is a footnote in which it is given, and there are, but this is not the only research done about this. There is some other different versions also are available. This one was by Swami Alokananda, a monk of the Ramakrishna order, visited Totapuri's monastery on 31st August 1962 and wrote an article that was published in the Prabuddha Bharata. November 1977. The following facts are gleaned from his research. Totapuri's monastery was at Ladhana in the Karnal district of the present Haryana state, not in Ludhiana near Kurukshetra in Punjab. The monastery is 56 miles from Ambala. Previously it was prosperous, but as of 1962 had become dilapidated. There are only 3 monks who take care of the place, and the present head is Badri Puri. Present means probably at that time present. Who is 70 years old, because this is the account published then at that time. So, there are 5 temples in the compound. One for the Dhuni, where the sacred fire is kept burning 24 hours a day. Others built on the tombs of different gurus, and one belongs to Totapuri. There are 30 to 35 tombs in the compound, and no one could ascertain which one was for Tota's guru. A list of gurus is given here in the descending order. Bhagwan Puri, the founder guru of this sect. Jagamohan Puri, then Janget Puri, Haridwar Puri, Manasa Puri, Saraswati Puri, Raj Puri, Siddha Puri, Bhandar Puri, Dalel Puri, Anpuri, Totapuri, Chaitanya Puri, Hazri Puri, Gopal Puri, Kedar Puri, and Badri Puri. So this is how the order has been shown here. So this is a place Ladhana, and therefore the pronunciation like Ludhiana could have been, because Ludhiana is a very famous place in Punjab, whatever it may be. Yeah. His guru had become a famous yogi who presided over a monastery there, but it is not clear whether he himself or one of his predecessors established it. The old monks told one of the master's disciples that Tota's guru had been the head of the monastery, and that every year people from the neighboring villages arrange a fair there in his memory. As he used to smoke tobacco, even now during the fair the villagers present tobacco to his monastic community. After his guru's death, Totapuri became the head of the monastery. Tota's own words indicate that his guru had been the head of the monastic community, and that he received instructions in Vedanta from him during his boyhood. He lived with his guru for a long time, studied Vedanta, and learned the mystery of sadhana. He told the master that there were 700 monks in his community who meditated upon the truths of Vedanta every day under the guidance of their guru. He said further that their monastery had an excellent method of training monks to meditate. The master told us many times what he had heard from Tota on this subject. The Naked One mentioned that there were 700 Naga monks in their monastery. The beginners were taught to meditate while sitting on thick cushions, for a hard seat would be uncomfortable and pain would divert their minds from God to the body. As they progressed in meditation, they were given less and less comfortable seats, and finally only an animal skin or bare ground uh, sufficed. In food and other matters also the same gradation was observed. In dress, for instance, they were trained by degrees to go without clothes. People from their very birth are fettered with eightfold ties of shame, hatred, fear, pride of caste, good conduct, honor, and so on. So these monks were taught to renounce them one by one. After they were well grounded in meditation, they were asked to roam from one holy place to another, first in the company of other monks and subsequently alone. Such was the method of training amongst the Nagas. So they all got trained in this way. Regarding the election of the head of the monastery, the master told us following account that he heard from his guru, that is Totapuri. Whenever there was a vacancy, they used to elect for the office one from amongst themselves, whom they found to be a real Paramahamsa. This term Paramahamsa is a very interesting term. Hamsa, that is swan, is indicative of the soul, the conscious being that we feel in us. So every individual consciousness is called a Hamsa. That there is the symbology is very beautiful. That the body is considered lake, and the swan is in this lake, the conscious entity. So this body and mind is lake. That is matter, body as well as mind. It is the lake, and the conscious entity is to be pictured as the swan in that lake. So that is the Hamsa, the swan. And then the supreme swan, who is that supreme swan? One who realizes that there is only really one consciousness only. There is nothing, no two about it. So the I here is I there, I there, I there, I everywhere is the same. Whether it is the I here or the I of the chair, everything is full of consciousness. Even the chair has its consciousness. The pillars have its consciousness. So all of them, they are conscious entities. We may not see their consciousness, but that is not that they don't have it. We don't have the capability of seeing it, that's all. That is why we call them inanimate. But it is not the problem that they have. It is the problem of our not being able to perceive it. As one's awareness becomes more and more purified, one starts seeing that they are also all full of the same consciousness. So, this is an important thing. So, the one who realizes that there is only one conscious entity and everything is consciousness, so that is now called the supreme swan, Paramahamsa. So, this is how this word is, Paramahamsa. So, they would elect somebody who is found to be real Paramahamsa. Otherwise, there was danger of going astray in handling money or in being the recipient of honor and power. So the one whom they found to be truly above the temptation of money was raised to this position. Such a monk would spend the funds at his disposal in the service of God and the monastic members of the order. Because being at that level of awareness, the delusion about the enjoyment in the objects is gone, and so there is no need of money for this person, does not run after money, does not run after the objects, because they are not holding any enjoyment for this person. It is like it is described in Shiva Mahimna Stotra, a hymn to Shiva. Nahi swatma ramam vishayam rigatrishna brahmayati. Very beautifully phrased, that the one who sees that the self is the source of all joy. All joy is in self. I am bliss. Now there is no point in thinking that, well, let me have bliss from there, that other object, other person or other object. Because we are ignorant, we feel that, well, if I can associate with that person, then I can extract bliss from there. Or if I get some such delicacy to eat, then I will get some joy from that. So we therefore run after those things. And it is, oh wow, let me have this, let me have this beautiful, very pricey jewelry. It looks so good, and so I will look so beautiful with that on. So you go to get that, and for that you need money. Money is thus the abstraction of all enjoyment is money. If you have money, you get it. If you don't have money, you don't get it. So who needs therefore money? Those who are looking at the objects of enjoyment, that I need to have it. So therefore the one who sees that there is nothing to enjoy there, so that person therefore doesn't go after that. The example given is that once you see that what you were seeing as water was actually not water at all, it was mirage. So you don't rush there, oh okay, nice water there, let me take a swim or a dip there. You don't go there, because you know that there is no water there, it is just an appearance. So, but those who don't know this, they see that there is water. Come on, it is, temperatures are high now, at a good nice water pool there. Let us take a dip and cool our bodies. Who can think of that? The one who is deluded that there is water. So, for the Paramhamsa, Supreme Swan, there is nothing that is worth enjoying here. And therefore we see that, but it takes time for us to learn that there is no enjoyment in any object. Even though intellectually we get this idea, it needs to be firmed through proper meditation, concentration, devotion and all that. So then it becomes firmed. Otherwise you'll know only intellectually, but then there is this understanding that there is enjoyment there. And so even though you know, you don't know. One knows. Yes, I have read the Upanishads and I have studied all these things. I am, so many times I have read the complete works of Vivekananda. But that is the intellectual understanding, not really the experience. And therefore, we keep this the Upanishad or whatever book down and then see what are the avenues of enjoyment are available. While in the class, yes, one feels that yes, I have got it. I understood everything. But then, as one, that understanding doesn't last even by just going on the sidewalk, and that the understanding is all washed away. So, that is how it happens with the people who are not established in that knowledge. They may have read it. So, but when you are established in it, you see it is mirage. Swami Vivekananda experienced that in while walking in a desert-like area in the northwest India. That state is called Rajasthan. So he was walking there, and then he was seeing all nice lakes around. And he used to think, with so much water around here, why people call it a desert land? And then as he thought that now I am feeling thirsty walking in this hot sun, let me go to one of those lakes and then quench my thirst. And then as he approached those lakes, the lake started moving further. So that he understood that this is what he has been reading about. Mirage. There is no water there. Then he kept walking. The same scene appeared again. The scene did not change. His eyes were seeing the same thing, but he was not now seeing water there. He saw that there is no water in that. It is just an appearance. So that did not take his feet in that direction to drink water. So this is how when the knowledge becomes experiential, then the test of it is that you are not pulled towards the so-called tempting objects. No temptation there at all. So this is how such a person therefore can be entrusted with money and other matters, because has no attraction for those things. So we learn from Tota's account that he was brought up under the affectionate care of his guru in a heavenly atmosphere, far removed from worldly attachments, delusion, jealousy, hatred, and so on. Heavenly should not be construed as a place for enjoyment, where you have all nice places to live in. You have there is that story that a couple who were living, a kind of healthy life, and were not very rich, but they died at ripe old age because they practiced all the healthy habits of living. Means only eating the limited food, free of fats and sugars, all low carbs, and things like that health diet, flax seeds and so forth, all such things. So they survived for a long time, and then at long last, after all, howsoever the healthy diet you may take, one day you have to die. So when they died, both of them died just around the same time. So they were good people, so were taken to heaven. And then there were the all those guides and attendants there too, and they started showing them, well, you can live in any of these places. There are these buildings here. Choose whatever you like. It is, and they saw all were very well furnished, nice lawns, everything was there, and they said, okay. Yeah, but we are not that rich. Oh, this is heaven, you know. You don't have to pay for any. It is, you just choose. It is, you get to live there. It is heaven. Remember, no. Okay, and there is the golf course. This man like to play golf. How much is it? Is so nice a golf course. How much is the membership? Oh, free. You know, it is. This is all. It is heaven. Then there was they were taken to the diners and all, and then they were shown a lot of nice food, very rich food. But then the wife said, you know, we don't eat heavy the carbs. We are very careful about health. Oh my goodness, this is heaven. Here, whatever you may eat, you do never become sick. It is no problem at all. You can eat whatever. It is every food is health food, because it doesn't. Oh, it is heaven. Oh, okay. And this man, he looked angrily at his wife. That see, because of your insistence on that low carb, this cholesterol free, and all that, the flax seeds and all that things, silly things, because of that, you know, we came here 10 years late. Otherwise, we would have reached in this nice place 10 years early. All your fault, you see. So it is heaven. That kind of heaven is different from what is being described here. This heaven is where jealousy is not there, competition is not there, there is no anger, delusion, jealousy, hatred, and so on, no worldly attachments. That is the heaven. Otherwise, those heaven where there are all these things, so-called enjoyments strewn, Shankaracharya has shown that there, if the heaven has duality, then heaven will also have the competitions. The heaven also will have jealousies. It cannot be free if from all these problems. Heaven also will have mine and yours, means attachments will be there. Do you see this point, Ajay? That heaven also will have the same problems then. Then what is the heaven? So it is, this is heavenly in the sense, free from all those, that sense of mine and yours. Nothing is mine. Already you know nothing belongs to me. So gradually, therefore, the mind gets tuned to higher ideals. So it is in the northwestern part of India, it is customary for childless couples to go to the temple and pray for a child whom they will offer to the Lord as a monk. They keep their promise. Who knows, perhaps Tota was offered to his Guru in that way. It seems to be so, because he never told the master about his parents, brothers, sisters, or any other family members. That is, could be possible. So, it is of course not that the father or the parents offered that to become monk means that the uh, son will take to monastic life automatically. The son will have his own tendencies, his own desires for enjoyment. So it is the parents sometimes think, and I tell that incident many times. It is that very illustrative incidents that a young boy came to become a monk in our center in Nagpur. So I was there at that time, and then the parents were raising such cry and angry that towards the ashrama, towards the center, for inducing their boy to take to monastic life. They were terribly, terribly angry and wanted to take that boy back to home. They were telling the boy, "Come on, come quick. See how much love we shower upon you. See how much sacrifice we endured for you. And now you are giving us up and the coming here, renouncing everything. Not right at all. It is immoral. You are, you do not even have that sense of indebtedness, thankfulness to your parents. You are now going away. What is this?" And then they cast very angry these remarks at the monks of the ashrama there. "You people, you seduce the young children like this, young boys, to become monastics. Not right." So some even go to make the police complaints and so forth. It is so. We were discussing this new boy had come to become monk, and all this. This is regular drama. So at our breakfast time, we were discussing. One devotee was there who used to do some voluntary work and then would join us for breakfast and discussion. He said, "Oh, well, I would not be at all unhappy. In fact, I will be very happy if my son becomes monk." And then this gentleman went away. Afterwards, this boy came. He was about, say, about 20 years old. And then one of us, immediately went to him, told, "Hey, come on. Hey, you can now become monk, because your father just told that he will be very happy if you become a monk." He scoffed a bit and said, "What does it cost him to say that I will be happy if my son becomes a monk? He had all his enjoyments and now says, let my son become monk. I am not going to become." So it is not just the parents' wishes. A few years back, I met this boy of that time, 20 years. Now he is, of course, about 45 years plus. So it is. And then we spoke about this incident and had a nice laugh. So it is something like that. That not always that the parents may give the child to become a monk, but not all could become a monk. There should be that innate those impressions, they desire, that sense to become lead a life dedicated to religious these disciplines. So as a result of the impressions from his virtuous deeds done in the past lives, Tota's mind was endowed with simplicity, sincerity and faith. Shankara wrote in the beginning of the Viveka Chudamani, that is verse number 3, only through God's grace can one obtain these three rare things: human birth, the longing for liberation, and the company of illumined teacher. Manushyatvam, mumukshutvam, mahapurusha samshrayah. These three things are considered very rare. To become take a birth as human beings, there are so many, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of millions of species. And yet, amongst them, one could become, say, a cow, one could take birth as some bacteria, and so forth. How does one become a human being? If it is a great stroke of fortune that you have become a human being, where you can discern between what is right, what is not right, and you can give a proper direction to your life. It is a very special privilege. It is not an instinctive life. It is, you have the capability to discern that this is right, this is not right. And therefore, even if you like something, when you see that it is not right, you refrain from doing it. It is, and you may dislike something, but when you see that it is right to do it, in spite of your disliking, you do it. That is how a human being is thus able to have this discernment, discrimination, and thus go on the right track. So this is a great, privilege to take the birth as a human being. Then there is again all human beings are not having the desire for liberation. Mumukshutvam, another great thing, that there are a few who get the desire that I must get liberation in this life. Wow, a very, very rare privilege. Look, everybody, for example, you are all endowed with that, these two things, that because you have the desire for liberation, you have come here. Are there not other places of enjoyment in Providence? So many are there. Just we, myself, and this Charles, we went for a walk, and then this Chris, sorry, not Charles, Chris and myself, we went for a nice walk around, and then people were busy in their own things. Somebody was going on a bike making big noise. That is, the bigger the noise, that is the more joy for them, the more people put their fingers in the ears, they feel happy to that extent. So it is, now people different ways, so not all are desirous of liberation. It is, they don't care for it. So this is very rarely some person gets this sense of having that this goal. I have to become free from all this terrible bondage. Rare. If that had been the case, many get it, lot of people, then this hall wouldn't be holding the people who would be coming here. It is, many tell me, Swami, come on, I get those emails also, that you want to increase your business, we will bring more customers and all that. More people will be coming to Vedanta and so forth. If too many people start coming, then I will conclude that I am telling something that is becoming popular and therefore not really conducive to liberation. It is very rarely people get this that impulse, that desire for liberation. I don't want anything else. I want liberation. So, and then Mahapurusha Samshraya means that holy company, whereby you can nurture this desire for liberation more and more, like a little plant, a very precious plant. It is rare, but if it is not properly nurtured, taken care for, it may not go to become a very nice tree. So, this nascent desire to be liberated becomes, really big in life, and ultimately a person realizes this truth by the holy company. So, if these three are available, now it is when these three are available, one should make good, best use of these. That is the statement here. Anyway, friends, we will have to stop here this wonderful discussion about Totapuri, and then continue when we meet next Tuesday. So let us meditate on these teachings for say 30 seconds, and if there are questions, you can feel free to ask the listeners here as well as listeners on the web. Any questions? Who is the Charlie? Okay.
What should be our attitude towards talking about Vedanta to family and friends who do not seem interested?
Who do not?
Seem interested. Who do not seem interested.
Well, just as some are interested in drinking coffee, some are not interested in drinking coffee. So, what attitude do you take? Okay, you have your way, I will have my way. Everybody, as we mentioned, everybody in the world is not interested. Rather, very few will be interested. I used to have, Charlie, this feeling earlier in my very young days when I got interested in studying Vedanta. I was a college student then. And then I thought that I should tell all my friends and family members and everybody that how good it is to follow this path. I am going to follow, you also all follow this path. It is wonderful. And I thought I can explain it logically. Those days I thought that logically things can be explained and understood. I had big faith in that I can prove them. It is, and so I told some first my family members. They said, "Who told you all these things? There is, you can prove. I can prove. I can prove that this is okay. Who wants to listen to your proof? We are not interested even in listening to your proof. What is the point in this? And it doesn't work, They are books, we also have read those books. It doesn't make any sense. When I told some of my very close friends, they also were, some said, these things are to be, we are right now young people. We are college students, and there are other better things to be done now. When you become old, then you can think of these things. So it was useless. Some Swamis had already told me that they won't listen, don't worry, because the preferences vary. So all are not interested in that, and even if you try to push your arguments, it won't it will not penetrate, like they say in our language, that if you put a sponge in water, then the water gets absorbed. But there are the stones you put in water, they may remain 1,000 years in water, and not a drop will enter in them. So, the good thing is that you lead your life in that light. And then, seeing your life, they may be interested. But otherwise, do not have to, force your doctrine on anyone. You do whatever you like. This is a free country. So you want to indulge in other pleasures, you do it and pay for it. I will follow my way. You follow yours, I will follow mine. If you at all want to know about my path, then I can tell you a little bit. But otherwise, it does not have any impact as such.
There's one more question. This is from an anonymous, it's a pseudonym
Hmm.
from Nothingness Universe. So he or she asks, what is the age limit to become a Vedantic monk? Are there any special requisites? I am 27 and I had the feeling to become a monk since the past 3 years.
Well, the age limit as such is 30 years in our order. But that is not the only thing, And if you want to become a monk in Ramakrishna order, then the limit is 30 years, and one should have done this high school. This thing should be exam. One should have passed. But these are the second main thing is that urge should be there to lead a monastic life. Then it is even then, if you sometimes the age limit also is relaxed if one wants really to become a monk, but is 1 or 2 years over that age, doesn't matter. Or the educational, there are, these are certain norms. But if the desire to become a monastic and lead a pure life dedicated to God realization, if that is there, then certainly one can become a monk. That is the first requirement. There are the requirements that are conducive to the monastic life, like one should be disciplined, one should be obedient, one should follow various norms. Like monastic means you have to cut the ties with all family and possessions and all that. And that is, if you are ready to do that, that's wonderful. Yeah. Okay, then any question amongst you? So let us conclude with the closing prayers. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus. Lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.